Hello, hello, hello. John Mears from jmears.co.uk. Today I'm going to talk about a question that I probably get asked more than anything else from decorators, and that is how to contact larger clients so you can start doing higher end work, a more commercial style of work. So I'm going to run through a couple of tips for you today, all about contacting new clients. So it can often seem quite daunting to contact new clients if you're a decorator, because traditionally most people will actually come to you in the first instance. That's what you're used to. So, but for a lot of decorators, there will be a time when you want to approach clients yourself. This might be schools, estate agents, architects, large building firms, you name them. The point is, at some point you're going to have to approach them and you're going to have to do the chasing. It's not going to be people coming to you. So how do we do this? Where do we even start? My tips, I've got 2 tips for you today on how to approach this situation. So tip number 1, utilize your network. So recently someone asked me for my advice on how to approach a school as a decorator. The first thing I did was call my dad, who's a carpenter. He's in the trade and he's done work for some schools recently, along with letting agents and local authorities and stuff like that. I also called a friend of mine who lives locally, a decorator who just got some work at a school, and from those 2 conversations I found it's not actually an overly complicated process to get work for schools. Often it's just a case of making connections with the right people so that you can get your foot in the door and then move it on from there. So for example, my dad, he got in via the school governors. This is people that you might find often make the decisions on schools and things like that. He already knew them. You might already have some in your connections on your social media. They're put on the school website as well, so you might be able to find a list of them there. My decorating friend, he said, so although the final sign-off comes from the head teacher, he got the in and got asked to quote because he's friends with the receptionist there. They're an old family friend. So this is something that you should be aware of, and just make sure that you are using your contacts to get into those larger contracts. It is something that you can always just carve out opportunities for. It might be if you're be a volunteer in your local carnival or village fete or whatever it is, and if you volunteer there, you'll probably spend some time with some other people that are influential in the local area. You might see the mayor or whatever it might be, and before you know it, the next time the local school needs painting or the town hall needs painting, you're the one getting contacted. You might even be like getting the nudge ahead of time, so you're the first person to quote. It's about being a pillar of the community and trying to do what you can. So whether that's joining your local school governors or your local round table. A friend of mine, Dave Wright Decorators, he sponsors the local junior football team. It's got his logo on the front of the shirt and it's brilliant. So, every week he's got 11 sets of parents taking photos and put it on social media with his logo everywhere. So it's brilliant and really works well for him. So a word of warning before we go on: when you're going for these larger projects, schools, new builds and things like that, it's very tempting to discount to try and get the work, but you really, really must avoid that, because remember, a £20 a day discount, it doesn't sound like much as a discount, but it's £100 a week. And if you find yourself on the job for a long time, it's £5,000 a year you're losing, all because you discounted by 20 quid a day. So don't fall into that trap. So tip number 2 is to use the general sales process. You won't always be able to find a warm lead. You won't know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. So let's think about, we're a decorator and say we want to try and get some regular work from an estate agent. A process that I would use in this situation: first things first, start doing some research on who you want to get in touch with. So each potential client, it's good to know a little bit about them. You've got to visit their website anyway to get the contact information. So whilst you're on there, just take a couple of minutes, check out the company. They might have information on there about how many properties they have. They might talk about whether they specialise in selling properties or renting them. It's all information that's going to help you. You might even find that there's like a meet the team page, and it'll tell you exactly who you need to speak to, so you can call up and go, hi, is Nicola there, or whatever it might be. The next thing to do is to phone them. In my opinion, it's always best to phone in the first instance. It's very tempting to email, and using the phone can seem quite scary to a lot of people. You don't want to feel like you're interrupting people or hassling anyone. But it is the best way to start building a relationship. So always phone in the first instance. They're harder to ignore than an email. And most importantly, it involves two-way communication. So regardless of the outcome of the call, you are very likely to learn something that can potentially help you with your next calls. So if you send an email and you don't get a response, you learn nothing. So making the call, how do we do this? Let's break down how I would make that first call. I would start with introduction. Hi, my name's John Mears. I'm calling from JM Decorators, or whatever you are. State why I'm calling. So I'm going to say, look, I'm calling because I want to learn a little bit more about the letting side of your business, how you organise the ongoing maintenance. I then want to just quickly pique their interest and say, look, I've completed a number of projects for companies similar to yours. With my experience, I'm sure that I can save you time and money in getting your rental properties up to standard between tenants. And then just simply ask for what you want. So just say, look, I appreciate I'm probably in the middle of something at the moment, but would it be possible to arrange a phone call to discuss your requirements further and see if I can help? Or could I even come down to your office and meet you if that's easier? And that's it, done. You don't have to do anything more than that. You know, it's just got to be quick. You've got to go in. Hopefully you're going to get a positive response from that. If not, don't worry, you haven't wasted any time. You just move on to the next person. So I think the key to remember is in that script, I didn't leave a gap. I didn't go, hey, how are you? How's the kids? Blah, blah, blah. I didn't try and build rapport with them in any sort of fake way. And that's just me being respectful of their time and respectful that they don't want to be on the phone to a sleazy salesman. They've got, stuff that they need to do. So that's all you need to do is just get in, deliver your message. And if it goes well, then great, you move on. And if it doesn't, then whatever. You've hardly used a minute of time. You just put the phone down, you call the next person. So after this, a number of things could happen. They might put you through to someone who can help you a bit better than they can. They might say, yeah, let's have a meeting, or can you email me some information? Or they might just say that they're not interested. But if you get that positive response, which hopefully you do, then you need to make sure that you just follow up promptly with the email or the info, or getting that date in the diary. And like I say, if you get a negative response, doesn't matter. It's taken less than a minute to make that phone call. Just ring the next company and try again. You might have learned something on that first call, so you can just tweak your script a little bit. The third step is following up. And as I always say, the sales phrase is the fortune's in the follow-up. So if you said you're going to send an email, do that promptly. But if you haven't heard anything a week later, that's when we need to get a bit more creative and start trying to follow up with people in different ways. I think the problem that most people come across when it comes to following up is they don't want to look like they're hassling people. So, and I understand if you're just going to do boring old follow-ups, it can seem like that. But if you plan it properly, it doesn't seem like you're hassling at all. So let's just say week number 1, you send a gentle email just saying, look, hey, it's me. Can we just move things forward? Can we arrange a call or a face-to-face meeting or whatever? Just try and nudge the conversation forwards a little bit. Week 2, still nothing. Maybe give them another call and just say, hey, it's me again. Just want to see if you've got any work that's coming up that I could quote for. Week 3, I'd maybe go, right, let's try and connect with them on social media, comment on a few of their posts or anything like that. Week 4, maybe you're walking past, it's a local estate agent after all, you might just drop a business card in or a leaflet or something, leave it on their desk so they've got that constant reminder of you and you are top of mind. If by week 5 you're still not getting anywhere, then I would personally start dialing back my efforts and start focusing on something else. You can keep in touch on social media and maybe put the odd leaflet through the door, but just to keep familiar with them. But like I said, I would start dialing back my pursuit at this point and focus on somebody else. either way, by this point, including your initial contacts and everything like that, and your follow-ups and your emails and everything like that, you probably contacted them 6 to 10 times, and because you've done it in different ways, it doesn't feel like you've been hassling them at all. So you need to remember that so much business comes from follow-up. So set reminders in your calendar. Make sure you do it on a regular basis. It's absolutely essential. I can tell you that 9 out of 10 people don't do it, and they lose a lot of business because of it. So make sure you do. That's what I'd say. So utilize your network is tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to go through the standard sales process. I hope you found this useful. If you have and you want to get more content on it, feel free to visit my website, www.jmears.co.uk. There's loads of free blogs and stuff on there. Or you can check out my book, which talks about all of this sort of thing in way more detail and gives you step-by-step guides on how to build your business as a painter and decorator. Hope this has been helpful. Thanks again. Links in the description. Like and subscribe, all that rubbish. Cheers, guys. See you soon.